This is advice of Anonymous. We post content on almost daily basis, so we suggest you click the subscribe button to get updates on our daily video. Alright. So before we dwell into Catch-22 paradox, let's first give some much-deserved credit to Joseph Heller, who coined the term in his 1961 novel, Catch-22. Joseph Heller was born on 1 May, 1923 in Brooklyn, New York. His writing bit him at an early age. He submitted his first story about the Russian invasion of Finland. In 1942, Heller joined the U.S. Army Air Corps after working as a messenger boy, amongst other jobs. This would be the place that would bring him to the war and give an interesting direction to his writing career. 2 years later, he was flying around 60 combat missions as a bombardier. Here, he would make friends and enemies, most importantly know the nature of the war. It was like any other person in the war. When people joined the war, they felt the glory of representing their nation. They felt like a hero even though what they were doing mostly were milk runs. Milk runs are missions where it is predicted that no major damage occurs to the airplane. In his novel he chronicles the journey of Captain John Yossarian, a fictional character. He, much like Heller, is a B-25 bombardier. Yossarian and his squad of bombardier friends find themselves sandwiched between the layers of higher bureaucracy and violence. Between these layers, their humanity is hidden and forms the absurd sandwich of the ongoing war. Yossarian and his squadron's task is simple. They have to risk their lives in brutal combat over enemy camps. In these missions, it is important to also capture the aerial photographs of their demolitions. Each squadron has a handful of missions and numbers. The squadron itself takes a lot of characters and experiences from Heller's own life as a bombardier for the U.S. Army Air Corps. After almost completing the number of missions, the squadron feels like they'll get to rest. But as they're led by a superior who wants to get into the good books of his superiors. So, he keeps on increasing the number of the missions of the squad. This just keeps on getting more and no one is ever allowed to go home. This gets to Yossarian, and here's where the main conflict of the novel comes to picture. The novel Catch-22 also went on to feature in a remake at box office but could not hold up to be a faithful adaptation of Heller's work. Coming back to the term Catch-22. The Catch-22 is that anyone who wants to get out of combat duty isn't really crazy. Hence, pilots who request a mental fitness evaluation are sane, and therefore must fly in combat. At the same time, if an evaluation is not requested by the pilot, he will never receive one and thus can never be found insane, meaning he must also fly in combat. Therefore, Catch-22 ensures that no pilot can ever be grounded for being insane even if he is. A Catch-22 is a paradoxical situation from which an individual cannot escape because of contradictory rules or limitations. A significant type of definition of alternative medicine has been termed a Catch-22. In a 1998 editorial co-authored by Marcia Angel, a former editor of the New England Journal of Medicine, argued that,
"It is time for the scientific community to stop giving alternative medicine a free ride. There cannot be two kinds of medicine, conventional and alternative. There is only medicine that has been adequately tested and medicine that has not, medicine that works and medicine that may or may not work. Once a treatment has been tested rigorously, it no longer matters whether it was considered alternative at the outset. If it is found to be reasonably safe and effective, it will be accepted. But assertions, speculation, and testimonials do not substitute for evidence. Alternative treatments should be subjected to scientific testing no less rigorous than that required for conventional treatments."
Catch-22 is often result from rules, regulations, or procedures that an individual is subject to, but has no control over, because to fight the rule is to accept it. Someone in need of something that can only be had by not being in need of it. For example, the only way to qualify for a loan is to prove to the bank that you do not need a loan. One connotation of the term is that the creators of the Catch-22 situation have created arbitrary rules in order to justify and conceal their own abuse of power. Catch-22. It's absurd and words that amounts to nothing. It is without content. It conveys no information at all.